What's going on? What's going on, good people? You already know what time it is. This is your boy, the historian, Ryan Walker. We're back. We're glad to be back into the birdcage. We had to take a little detour last week. A few things took place, but hey, we're back at it. Tonight, we're going to do a little bit of a pop-up show for you guys. And we got a few things we're going to talk about today because Thursday, we actually have an interview with Mr. Larry Livers. But before we get to that interview and everything else that's going to take place tonight in this pop-up show, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for us so we can go ahead and keep continuing to bring you the material that we bring you every day. You either get right or you get left. It's the birdcage. Let's go.
Okay, y'all, this is it.
What's going on, people? Hey, this is your boy, the historian. We got some things we're going to talk about today. Speaking on Matt Ryan's career and where he stands right now, he and Arthur Blank are going to make the Ring of Honor. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but wanted to first touch on this. Like I said, we apologize about last Thursday. We had some things going on we had to take care of, and we were unable to be with you last week. So we definitely apologize. And we're going to open this up to fans tonight. So at any point that you want to jump in, we got the link already provided. I've already set the ground rules where you come in here, you got your time, you can speak, you can hang. But again, we're gonna try to do a little something a little different today. It's just a pop-up show that we're doing, not gonna be on as long as we normally are, but we definitely want to get your point of view and your feelings about what's going on with the Falcons right now. And we want to talk about different moments that have happened that you've loved as a Falcon fan as well. So we got a few things that we're gonna jump into tonight. So the magnificent Birdcage crew will be joining me a little later. Right now, it's just me, solo dolo for right now, but the family will be into the building tonight. Definitely can't wait for those guys to get in here so we can definitely chop it up. So welcome, welcome, welcome to those who are in here. Definitely appreciate you coming in. So the first thing we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to talk about Matt Ryan and Arthur Blank getting into the Falcons Ring of Honor. Now, Arthur Blank was going to get in there regardless. We already know he's been the most successful tenured owner that we've had. We weren't really successful under the Smith regime as we should have been. But again, this is what happens when you have individuals who don't understand football and don't understand how to put things together. The Smith boys were using the Falcons as a tax write-off. Cheap, 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 cheap. But it's all good. We got an owner that doesn't mind spending money now. He's put the most winning seasons together for us, and he's brought a lot of great players to this organization since he's been here. The question is this: when are we ever going to get over the hump? Because if he gets this team right, he's spending the money. with the people that he's put in place that he's trusting with this franchise, are we going to be able to get this correct to where we can get a championship? Because I feel like if we get a championship before, God forbid, Mr. Blank goes or whatnot, I think that'll be a good thing. But at this point, right now, it's either do or die at this point. For the rest of the time that he's going to be in charge, it's do or die. And with the moves that he's made, from off-season moves to bringing in different coaches to where he's shaking things up a little bit. I can honestly say that at this point, I trust Blank to spend money, but I can't trust him to spend it in the right places. Not yet, because of some of the things and some of the issues that we've had. But now that we have someone that's in that front office that actually understands that I'm not going to pay guys the way that Dimitrov was paying guys with Terry Fontenot, I think that balances things out. And I think that's going to put a lot of things in order for the Falcons right now. But as for Arthur Blank, he's been an incredible owner. He's an interesting cat. And when you talk about Arthur Blank, you look at before he came to the Falcons, you look at the fact that a New York guy out of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, he's a Brooklyn cat. You look at the fact that in 1978 he co-founded Home Depot with a gentleman by the name of Marcus, and then the New York investment banker Ken Langone assembled the initial group of investors, pretty much to put this thing together for do-it-yourself craftsmen, and a lot of people that and a lot of homeowners who actually enjoy doing their own construction work around the house, and some masonries. But if you look at it, he literally spent 19 years as the company's president before succeeding Marcus as CEO. Blank retired from the company in 2001. He took over the Falcons in 2002. So he went from going from Home Depot to the Atlanta Falcons. Two totally different areas when you talk about financial gain and you look at what he's brought to the table. I'll say this. As a businessman, Arthur Blank understands how to get money, and you got to give it to him. He understands how to get money. Now, if I got some hip hop heads out there, whatnot, it's something about them boys that come out of Brooklyn, from Biggie to Jay-Z to Arthur Blank. And you look at some of these guys that have come out of that area, and you're like, hey, all they do is get money. That's all they understand. That's their culture. Move, and get money. But again, this man is a hustler. This man is a businessman. He's definitely trying to put a good product on the field for us coming up this year. So I'm hoping that he gets this right, because we believe in what Raheem is saying. It sounds good right now. I'm sticking with my coach, but at the end of the day, I got to see results. I believe that Raheem has learned his lessons from his days of being a head coach. However, we will see when he gets put in the fire again. And at this point, you just got to sit back and just wonder, will this be Arthur Blank's last head coach that he that he hires during the time that he owns the Falcons? Because how much longer can this man go? That's a question that's still out there on the table. So outside of that, Arthur Blank definitely has been an interesting cat. You look at the fact that in 2006, anybody that understands and knows everything, you look at the fact that Arthur Blank has been in a situation to where he owned the Georgia Force, a semi-pro team that was here in Atlanta for a while, coached by the legendary Doug Plank, who played for the Chicago Bears back in the day, who the 46 defense was named after. He might be coming onto the show a little later. Maybe, maybe not. We never know, but you'll see. But Doug Plank was the head coach for a while for the Georgia Force, who was a solid team. And then you look at the fact that Arthur Blank really wanted to try to purchase the Atlanta Braves in 2006. But again, they didn't want that man to have that much power in the city. And then later in 2017, he brings the Atlanta United into the city, and they ended up winning a championship within their second year of existence. And they've been consistent since 2017 within the playoffs and within championship contention. Now, the question is, what are we doing with the Falcons at this point? He already has a successful franchise with Atlanta United. The question is this: what can we do to make this organization successful when it comes to the Falcons? That still seems to be, how can I put it? That seems to still be one of those mysteries that we still can't figure out at this point. But until, like I said, until we get to see what the season holds up and the season looks like, we'll have a better chance to understand. So, congratulations to Arthur Blank. One of the people that I'm also going to talk about right now is Matt Ryan. 14 years in Atlanta, man gave this city his heart and soul, and he wasn't welcome to this city. Let's keep it a buck, Falcon fans. Half of y'all didn't want him. Half of y'all still don't accept him. Half of y'all still say he's not good. Half of y'all still trash this man. And let's be real. This has been the winningest quarterback. You can say whatever the hell you want to say about him, but the man won. You can't take away from it. The man won. The man has the passing records, has the touchdown records, literally has every record in the franchise, as well as an NFL MVP. We've never had an NFL MVP in this franchise, including the great Michael Vick, the great Steve Bartkowski. Chris Chandler never got to it, and we never got it with Chris Miller when we were actually in the playoffs playing with those guys. So at this point, the question is, what are we going to do when it comes? What's going on, Christy? Welcome to the cage. What are we going to do when it comes to that? Matt's been gone for a couple of years now. He's up in the booth. He's doing his thing. The question is this: you had a guy that had consistency, who had literally was starting to become one of the quarterbacks who had some of the most comebacks in the NFL. He literally started building his reputation in the fourth quarter. A lot of fans were never accepting of this guy. You know, when you look at it, Matt Ryan was a guy who outside of putting everything on the line, he rarely missed games. That's very hard to say, because you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who's a four-time MVP, and you look at him, and when you see that he's one of those guys that you just sit back and just say, well, damn, this dude was one of the best to play in the NFL. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you feel about it, Matt Ryan was that guy. And at this point, just accept the fact that he's the best quarterback we've had in this franchise. Now, if we end up getting better performances from this gentleman that we just drafted, Mr. Michael Penix Jr., I'm happy with that. And we need consistency. And the other thing we're going to need is him to be healthy. That is going to be a big thing. That is going to be a big thing, because him throwing the football isn't the problem. Him making decisions isn't the problem. The only issue is we got to see how does he hold up against this NFL pounding? How does he take everything that's going to be thrown at him? And at this point, all you can do right now is just clap your hands and just give respect to the man who laid it on the line for 14 years. So, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play a little bit of Matt Ryan's highlights or whatnot for you guys that's coming in here, and we're actually gonna enjoy tonight. We're actually gonna enjoy talking about why did he deserve to be in the Ring of Honor, and what really put him in a position to be in that spot. So, again, definitely appreciate Mr. Matt Ryan. We're definitely going to put some highlights up. So I'm going to go ahead and put his highlights up for you guys today. And we have everything squared away. So momentarily, fair use. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing started for you guys. Give me 1 second. So, family, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Mr. Matt Ryan.
Maximum effort.
Fair use.
Back for his first NFL pass attempt. It's complete to Michael Jenkins, and he breaks a big one. There goes Michael Jenkins. Touchdown, Atlanta. A 62-yard TD strike.
They need to go to the 41 for a first down. Here's Ryan. Steps up in the pocket. Going for everything. He's got a receiver. And it's caught. Touchdown. White, 70 yards. Bootleg. Got it. Touchdown. Justin Peel. At the line of scrimmage. No huddle. The fade route. Roddy White has it. Touchdown, Atlanta.
They're going to roll out Ryan, and Roddy White a touchdown.
Ryan with time. Gets it through to Roddy White. Slips by one man. Heading for the corner. It's a touchdown for the Atlanta Falcons.
So just a little something that we provided for you guys. I provided for you guys right now. Just looking at some of his highlights and whatnot. The one thing during his prime, he was very accurate. That was the one thing you couldn't take from him. Matt Ryan was one of those guys that he was just accurate during the time he was there. A lot of people don't want to give him his credit. A lot of people don't want to look at everything that he brought to the table. A lot of people just don't want to give him his credit. And it's funny to hear when people say, oh, he wasn't that great of a quarterback. He wasn't this, he wasn't that. But let's go ahead and dive into the numbers. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up for you guys. And I'm actually going to put the banner up for you guys so you guys can come in if you want to. So if you're a fan of the show, you want to come in, I've already put the link out on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up for you guys real quick. Give me one sec. So with Matt Ryan, I'll say this. I think he's one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in the league, period. He'll always be there in his own city. Anybody else would have loved to have him. I've talked to many different teams. I know when the Chicago Bears had that team that went to the Super Bowl the year that they played Peyton Manning, they said they would have taken a Matt Ryan over a Rex Grossman. You know, Rex Grossman was awful. And when you look at a guy like Matt, you look at the fact that, okay, he didn't wow you with certain things, but the performances that he put up and the numbers that he put up was ridiculous. And so what I'm going to do is put this up for you guys right now. And these are some of the numbers that Matt actually put up. So let's go back to it. So in 2008, as you can see, we went 11-5. Matt, we had a 61% completion percentage as a rookie, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He also had a great running game behind him. He was still feeling himself. But for a rookie, I got to give it to him. But if you ever look at it, his touchdowns have increased since his rookie year. You go to his second year, he has 22 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 28 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 29 touchdowns. And if you notice, the touchdowns are averaging in between 20 to 30 touchdowns a year. And then you're looking at the completion percentages. Matt Ryan has a career average of 65%, almost a 70% completion rate. So that means he's pretty much in a spot to where he's not turning that ball over. That was something that we've struggled with these past couple of years with quarterback play. We've turned the ball over multiple times with Desmond Ridder and also with Marcus Mariota. When you look at a lot of those things that are going on and going down, all you can do is just sit back and shake your head and say, wow, this is different. This is very different. And this is one of those things where you're like, hey, we have something here. But most people don't appreciate it. Everybody wanted the big breaks. Everybody wanted the 80-yard runs that Vic was bringing to the table. Everybody wanted the oohs and the ahs. But my thing was, if you look at the completion percentages and you look at the accuracy and you look at what he brought to the table with the consistency, I can't be mad at him. I can't be mad at him at all, because Matt Ryan literally has some of the best numbers out of all quarterbacks in the league. If you ever go back to his 14 years in Atlanta, Matt Ryan had 59,735 yards, 367 touchdowns, and he had 170 interceptions. That right there in itself, and his QB rating in Atlanta for 14 years, all those years together, is a 94.2. His career QBR rating is 93.6. So he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, like him or not. So at this point, all you can do is just sit back and just say, wow, it's just one of those things where you're like, wow, what can we do what can we do to bring something like this back? So other than that, definitely we actually missed the production that was put out there. Some people are gonna say they don't miss it, but hey, to each his own. Um, Outside of Matt Ryan being in that situation to where we've got the production, we're also looking at the fact that Matt also has an MVP. We'll go to the MVP year right now. With the MVP season that he had, Matt passed for 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and had a QBR rating that year alone of 79.6. Really, if you round it up, he had an 80% QBR during that season. He was only sacked 37. He was sacked 37 times that year, and was one of the least sacked quarterbacks during the season that year. We went 11-5. Of course, everybody knows we had the debacle in the Super Bowl, unfortunately, but he gets the MVP that year, and he has numbers that are just ridiculous. And then you go back to the 2017 season or whatnot. Look at it. Matt Ryan played all 16 games. All 16 games. And when you look at all 16 of these games, let me bring this up for you guys. Give me one sec. He played all 16 of these games, and I'm gonna bring up the stats real quick for passing for Matt this year, for that year. So that year, Matt ended up with 342 completions out of 529 attempts, still with the 64% completion rate, and then you have 4,095 yards that he put up and 20 touchdowns. That right there alone literally similarly mirrored what he did, and that's without Shanahan. Shanahan brought a lot out of Matt, a lot out of it. What's going on, Wallace? Just opening things up for fans right now, just talking about what's going on with Matt Ryan hitting the Ring of Honor, Arthur Blank hitting the Ring of Honor, and just talking about what the expectations are going to be coming up this year. So that's pretty much what we're talking about right now. Again, Matt is a guy that definitely was consistent, brought his lunch pail and hard hat to work, but a lot of people don't appreciate that. This is what I'll never understand. What's going on, Graybeard? So the thing is, I'll never understand this. When you have great talent in front of you, or you have somebody who's competent enough to win for you, but you don't appreciate it. How is Falcon fans, and this is just my question for you guys, as Falcon fans, just be honest with me. How do you deal with mediocrity? Now, Steve Weiss came in here and said, we're the most sensitive fans on earth. I got to agree with it. How do we deal with mediocrity? How do we deal with being able to not only to adjust our way of thinking, how do we adjust supporting this team even when it doesn't behoove you to support this team when you don't want to? That's a question that I have. We've had so many people to have so much to say about this team, but the problem is we don't support this squad at all. We don't fully support them. You ride with them when they're winning, but you complain and cry about everything. Look at the draft, for instance. We take a quarterback in the first round. We've been crying and complaining about needing a quarterback. We get one. We've cried and complained about the pass rush. We address it. Nothing ever makes folks happy. You had a consistent Iron Man for 14 years that not only took us to a Super Bowl, led us to a Super Bowl, pretty much led us to having consistent winning seasons. And we didn't appreciate that. We lose it, and we put ourselves in a position to where it's like, well, What else do you plan on bringing to the table with that? What else do you see coming from that? Because anybody else that comes through here has not been good. Michael Vick left when we ended up getting rid of him. You look at what we went through during that time before Matt Ryan came. We went through Leftwich. We went through Joey Harrington. You look at, unfortunately, Georgia's own DJ Shockley. I mean, you look at a lot of the quarterbacks that we had to come through here before Matt came here and became a central piece. Matt Schaub ended up going to Houston and balling out. He comes back and becomes a backup. But again, you've got to look at everything that we've had and things that we've taken for granted and things that we haven't used. I honestly believe we have one of the best organizations. The problem is, I don't think the fan base is the same. Just my opinion. I'm not gonna trash the fan base. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. I feel like we find things to nitpick and we find things to complain about. And the problem is, when have Falcon fans truly stood on their perch and stood out in the city of Atlanta? Now, I know it's tons of them that's outside of Atlanta that stand 10 toes down. Hell, I'm one of them. I live here in Philly right now. I got to deal with Eagle fans. So you don't think I don't stand 10 toes down? I got a couple of scars on my hands right now to let you know that I've stood 10 toes down for my birds. And that's going against Eagle fans. So at this point, I look at it like this. I really feel like this fan base has got to get better. I feel like we got to get better at supporting this squad. I feel like it's so many things that we have that we can have as a fan base if we gave them more support. Because anybody that played any sports from college to high school, you understand that you need support from your home crowd. It's not a good look when you have Packer fans, Eagle fans, Steeler fans, Cowboy fans, 49er fans, Browns fans, Lions fans coming into our city taking over. Hell, I'll even say New Orleans fans. Because if we're not playing good, we're not going to support. Yeah, we hate the Saints, but how many times have we really, really supported them even during the lean years? Just my question, just my thoughts. How many times have we really supported this team? I think that we're in a position to where if they start giving us something to cheer about now, I believe it's going to be more people that's going to jump on that bandwagon. But I don't do bandwagon fans. You either riding with us right now when stuff is still trying to be fixed and stuff was bad. That's when you ride with your team even the hardest. You lean on them even more. But if you're not going to ride with them, if you're not going to sit on the perch with them, it's no need to. It's no need to. It's no need to even say you're a fan. So at this point, all I can do is just laugh. It's comical at this point. And I just feel like, oh, we got one. It says, I agree, our fan base doesn't have a great reputation. Yeah, they only ride with you when you win. Let's think about it. Look at all the rap celebrities and everybody that was out there in Houston when we went to the Super Bowl. Look at Big Boy, Andre, T.I., Jeezy, all them jokes. Now, Jeezy, I got to give it to him. Jeezy ride with the Falcons, and so does Gucci. I got to give it to him. But Big Boy always riding with all the Atlanta sports. I ain't got nothing bad to say about those cats. But I'm speaking about everybody was riding with the Falcons when it was convenient. And that is something that's a problem. Like, you can't just ride with the birds when it's convenient for you. You got to ride with them when it's bad. You know, it's just like a marriage, man. You can't just walk out of the door when stuff get bad the first time or the first few times. You can't. Marriages that last for 30, 40 years that you see your granddaddies, your grandmamas, and everybody else up in, most of those marriages last because guess what? They actually figure out how to support each other during lean times. That's the same thing with the Falcons. You have to invest in supporting to them. And I'm not just talking about financially. There's a lot of people that's emotionally checked out. Oh, we got Wallace in the building. What's up, Wallace?
What's going on with you, Ryan?
You know I owe you a ton. You know I owe you some words for what you said to me in the chat the other day, my brother. See, you can't just hide behind the keyboard now. So you in here with me now.
Yeah.
Now we'll talk about the secondary in a minute, but I'm speaking on how people really underappreciated Matt Ryan during his time while he was in Atlanta. And I understand there's people that's never gonna like him because they were hooked on Vic. And I mean, I get it. Everybody got their favorite players. Everybody didn't like how that situation happened. But Steve Weiss came on this show, and I stand 10 toes down on it. Just like Steve Weiss. Michael Vick messed up. He paid his dues, and he did what he did. You're not gonna get by lying on the grand jury stand and then lying to the owner. Like the owner treated him like a son. Like he literally, I believe Arthur Blank would have got him out of that situation. That's just me. Enough money and enough. You don't think that man got enough money and enough resources to get him out? And a lot of people want to sit here and blame Matt Ryan for what happened to that dude. No, Matt came along. And Matt literally gave us consistent winning, but a lot of people don't appreciate that, Wallace.
Yeah, you hitting it right on the head. Everybody got spoiled with Michael Vick. So
I'm gonna take a sip of water on that one.
So when Matt was doing good, they don't talk about when he did good, but every time he did bad, then that's when they want to bring it up. That Matt ain't no good. He's this and that. But you never hear him talking about if he did good when he won a game. Because he was throwing dimes just like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning was when they was in their prime.
Exactly. Because think about it. The first pass that I played, he threw it right to Michael Jenkins. Seam route. Put it right on the money.
Mm-hmm.
People forget. This is what else people forget, Wallace. People forget his rookie year. We go to the playoffs. Yeah, he had 11 interceptions that year, but he also had more touchdowns than he had interceptions.
Right.
That's always better for a quarterback to double his touchdown production more so than his interception rate. Matt didn't turn over the ball like that.
No.
That's something that I just don't get. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's something I'll never understand. I've told people all the time, like, all right, what are you gonna do the day that he leaves? That day came. We held on to him a little too long. Now, I'll say that myself. I think we should have got rid of him probably around 2018. That's just me. And that's when he still had trade value at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, a lot of people didn't appreciate it because you think about it. He's still with as bad as we were under Arthur Smith that whole time when he was here his last year with Arthur Smith, the man still led us to a 79 record and still had us in ball games to where we could possibly win.
Mm-hmm.
But no one talks about that. Everybody talks about, oh, well, he too old. He been doing this. I'm going to say this here. I ain't going to call no names because I got family and they watch the show. You know who you are. Now, if you get saucy with me off the record, I will expose your ass. I'm letting you know that now. I have no problem with putting names on it, but don't do it. But I'm going to let you know this now. You speak on Matt Ryan disrespectfully, but you don't speak on all the other bad quarterbacks that have come through here that couldn't win when it counted.
Right. So everything Michael Vick did wasn't all good either. And you don't about to speak bad on him.
And I agree with you on that, Christy. You're right. Falcon fans, he said, yeah, that's how all the Falcon fans play a catch it, like Matt Bryant. Yeah. And the problem is this. Everybody always want to blame that Super Bowl on Matt, but I'm going to tell you this here. Blame that Super Bowl on your head coach that's supposed to be a defensive guru. Why we couldn't keep a 25-point lead. Where even though our defense wasn't the best defense, that's the excuse. But guess what? They came out playing like gangbusters. They were blitzing. And guess what? They stopped blitzing in the second half.
Yes, they did.
Let's talk about it. Because the same thing the Philadelphia Eagles did with the Kansas City Chiefs, they let Pat Mahomes get comfortable. Just like we let Tom Brady get comfortable.
Yep.
It was no way in the world we should have lost that game.
And I said the same thing. I blame that loss on Dan Quinn.
Thank you. Everybody want to say Shanahan, but here's the thing. Okay, Shanahan is a part in that. I got to blame the head man that's running everything.
There you go.
But you can't have a logical conversation like that with folks, Wallace.
Right.
Most folks don't want to say that. Most of, well, Matt Ryan was a part of it. He's a vet. Okay, well, here's the other thing. Half of y'all understand this. If you played football before, if you don't have the personnel on the field you need. Now, I do blame Matt for not calling a timeout. They wanted to stay aggressive. I get it. But if I'm the head coach, down the distance, I already see what this game is getting to. I'm telling Shanahan, do not put that ball in the air. You walking back to Atlanta. Period.
Right.
That should have been Dan Quinn jumping on his offensive coordinator. And then he should have told Matt, he said, if this idiot decides to call a pass play, you call a timeout and we'll handle it from there. That's how that should have been. Accountability. But there was no accountability. But yet and still, the blame guy is the quarterback, but we don't blame the head coach for not subbing in defensive linemen, not having keeping guys fresh, because Grady was getting off in that game with 3 sacks.
Yep, and he stayed in the same defense the second half when they started driving on us.
Exactly. Matt didn't even throw a pick in that game.
Nope.
That's why I find that funny. Like, everybody blames that on him, but he never turned the ball over.
No, he didn't, except for when Freeman missed that block and he got hit.
You know who you about to get started in here if you say that, miss. John Harris. You know John Harris lurking.
It is what it is. He missed that block.
Well, they don't teach running backs at Florida State how to block, so.
Right.
Warwick Dunn was an exception. Warwick played under Bobby Bowden, so he taught those boys how to block.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a Jimbo Fisher product. I wouldn't trust that as far as I can throw. K-Dub, what's good?
What it is, what it do, BirdCage family, listeners, and subscribers. Glad to be back in the building tonight, talking Falcons football and everything good in that tent. Hey, let's go. Let's get into it, man.
Well, it look like you got Metropolis up behind you. Is that the CNN building?
No, it's Atlanta, man. That's Atlanta.
That's a CNN building. I had to look. It's a different angle. I had to look. I'm like, yeah, that's a CNN building right there. Because it looked like Metropolis for a second, and I just looked at the building. I'm like, oh, yeah, landmark. So me and Wallace was sitting here talking. I've been talking about Matt Ryan going into the Ring of Honor and what he brought to the table and why he's in the Ring of Honor and why he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And if you look at that, Matt was 14 years of consistency in Atlanta. No matter how people want to look at it, no matter if they don't like him or not, they don't have to. Matt got all the records to prove it.
Yeah,
the most starts at that quarterback spot, the yards, the touchdowns, and he's the only quarterback in our franchise to have the MVP.
I mean, he's like Coach Raheem said in the skit, not the skit, but the video they put out, man. I mean, he's the best Falcon in history. I mean, you got to look at his accolades. He's the only MVP we had. I mean, I feel like he could have rolled off into the sunset and been a first ballot Hall of Famer if we just got that Super Bowl. But it's just my opinion. He may still get in, but it may take him a couple of go around. I don't feel like it'll be first ballot. But
now, the only thing I got to disagree with Raheem on is this: he ain't Mr. Falcon. Let's get that straight. Mr. Falcon is deceased right now and should be an NFL Hall of Famer. Mr. Tommy Noble is one of the greatest middle linebackers of all time. That's Mr. Falcon right there.
I mean, apples to oranges. I guess Matt Ryan is the offensive Mr. Falcon and Tommy Noble. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the only reason why I say that is think about this. The reason I say Mr. Falcon, you're the first pick in draft history. Outside of being the first pick in draft history or whatnot, I think he's one of those guys. That you had to account for back in the day because Tommy Nobis was really the only thing we had. And then we brought in Claude Humphrey to help, but that man didn't have hardly any help. And that dude held it down and was the anchor to start the Grits Blitz defense before Dewey McClain and all those guys started coming in. He was the anchor point. And I feel like Matt Ryan was, like you said, was the anchor point on the offensive side of the ball for us when you talk about consistency. So I would put him in that. I'll put it this way. I think they're both in a class of their own, and if you decided to call roll, it wouldn't take long to call their name. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I just feel like apples, oranges. I just feel like he's a defensive Mr. Falcon, and you got, like I said, everybody. Like, I feel like as time exudes and we get closer away and get further away from Matt Ryan, the appreciation for Matt Ryan will slowly come back around, because especially if we don't have a quarterback. If I don't want to say if is a fifth, but I want
Yeah.
Penix and those guys to be successful.
Don't jinx that, please. Don't jinx that.
Okay, we
I
gonna we
want
gonna
Penix
we
to
gonna
work
we gonna
out.
we gonna leave that alone. I'm not gonna touch on
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but
Hold up. I want the boy to work out. Please, Lord, please let that happen.
I'm a Penix believer and fan, so I'm gonna leave negative and connotation out of my mouth and continue to push positive. And he is Mr. Falcon so far, and there could be another Mr. Falcon and another Mr. Falcon. So I'm just trying to figure out how your owner puts his own self in the ring of honor. That's what I was trying to figure out. But that's just me.
Well, Arthur Blank was gonna do it. He's got the most winning seasons as an owner because there's only been two: the Smith regime and him. So of course he gonna make it. Shoot, Jerry Jones in his own ring of honor.
I mean, I guess it just feels funny. I feel like you can go into the ring of honor, but like go pass on and then somebody put you in. Don't put your own self in. That's just my opinion.
That man. Look, that man cutting the checks. He said he got to have some kind of joy in his life at this point because
You might well build him a damn Arthur Blank statue then if you're gonna do all that.
He might not,
don't be surprised if you see a statue with the Home Depot box in front of it.
he might not be in charge of that Ring of Honor stuff.
Oh, you don't think he's in charge of that?
No, he probably got somebody else that's doing that, and they decide, for what he's done for the city so much, and he about one of the best owners in the game right now.
Yeah, and remember he brought the Georgia Force to Atlanta, who was very good. He also, he also brought Atlanta United right now. So when you look at it, it's not just on the Falcon side of things. That's mainly what we know him for and what we want to know him for winning. But the man has brought two successful franchises to the city. Unfortunately, the Arena League fizzled out. But I honestly believe that if he gets the Super Bowl, I believe that really would put Arthur Blank in a category to where he'll probably end up going to the NFL Hall of Fame.
No, I mean, I'm not saying he's not deserving of being a ring of honor. I'm just, if he's not over or selecting him on his own self, then that's different. But it's just what it felt like to me. So
Yeah, because I watched the little interview they did on him today with Ward Dunn.
mm-hmm.
So he was kind of shocked when they told him they was gonna put him in the Ring of Honor. So he didn't even know it.
Man, so here's the question I got for y'all. Now I spent most of almost an hour talking about those two mainly. Here's the question I got for you. How do y'all feel about different players that should be in the ring of honor? Who do you think out of Falcon players that isn't in the ring of honor that deserve to be in the ring of honor?
Jesse Tuggle.
Roddy White.
I got one for you. Terrence Mathis.
Yeah, Mathis.
Yeah, there you go, Terrence.
Oh, you say the Ring of Honor. Okay.
Yeah, the ring of honor. Jesse's already in the ring of honor.
Yeah.
Terrence Mathis isn't in the ring of honor yet.
What about Abraham?
I believe he should be too.
I don't think he in there either.
I believe he should be too. But again, we all look at so many different players that have come through, that have come through Atlanta and have been dominant players.
Yeah.
I believe Abraham should be in the ring of honor. He's not.
Yeah, Abraham is a very good candidate that should be in there. Is Roddy White in the ring of honor?
Yeah,
I think he is.
Because
I know Vic is in the ring of honor.
Yeah, him and Vic went in the same night.
Okay. Let me see. What about Michael Turner? Is he up there?
Nope.
Not yet. Nope.
Not yet.
I like the Barter. Yeah, okay.
So this is who we had. So when you talk about the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor, it's just so the 11th member was Roddy White. That was the 11th member. Um,
Okay.
we already know William Andrews is in it. We already know Steve Barkowski, Tommy Nobis, Jesse Tuggle, Jeff Van Note, Mike Ken, Claude Humphrey, Deion Sanders. Even though he didn't play that long, his impact was felt. Gerald Riggs, Warwick Dunn, Roddy White, Todd McClure, and now you have Arthur Blank and Matt Ryan is going in. John Abraham isn't in it. Another guy, like I said, to me, I feel like this. Terrence Mathis should have gone before Todd McClure.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence Mathis should have gone before Roddy White. And I love me some Roddy White. But T Mac was that dude.
Who
You
else?
know,
Who else? Think Bobby
Bob
Whitfield.
Whitfield's not even in it. And
Yeah, he
Bob
should.
Whitfield had longevity in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
another guy.
a lot of
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you another Falcon player who I believe deserves to be in it. I'm not, and a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, well, he was in now." Well, here's the thing. All right, he might have not had the greatest numbers, but he was consistent during his career. I say Keith Brooking is another guy that you got to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Consistent.
he was here for quite a while. Yeah, keep working.
I mean,
Uh,
when you look at some of the players that have come through, like, and one guy that deserves, when I say deserves to be in, Big Jim Mitchell, the original unicorn tight end that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't put him in there. The man scored Atlanta's first touchdown in the playoffs. The man was consistent and was ranked. He was literally the leading receiver until Andre Rison, Terrence Mathis, Roddy White, Julio Jones got here. Like he was literally the leading receiver. And think about all the wide receivers we've had. Think about all the wide receivers that we've had. So when you look at it, Jim Mitchell is a guy that should have been in, period. And they still aren't putting him in there. He's ranked 6th with receiving yards in franchise history. One of the best players that we've had. And they still don't have him in.
What about Crumpler? They got Crumpler in there.
Nope. Algie Crumpler ain't even in. So I
I
mean, I'm just
mean,
gonna be honest with you. You've
they
had
being selective. They being very
exactly
selective.
because you've had 3 great tight ends to come through here. Jim
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell is one, Algie Crumpler is the other, Tony Gonzalez is the one who came afterwards.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is this. When people want to throw around the term unicorn at tight end for Kyle Pitts, I'm sorry. I got to watch great tight ends in my lifetime as a Falcon fan, and he got a lot to live up to. I'm sorry. He got a lot to live up to. I'm not calling that cat no unicorn until he literally shows that he belongs in that elite class with those guys.
I wish he would never got that nickname coming to the league because it's you got to earn those kind of nicknames. And I feel like what you did in college is one thing, but when you get to this NFL level, you got to produce. And I feel like he's had not had the opportunity. The first year he made a Pro Bowl, and then he got hurt. So it's like you're trying to get back from injury. I really want to see you back at 110%, and then hopefully that's this year. And then you can make believers out of everybody that's a naysayer of your game. That's just what
Yep.
I hope for.
Yeah,
I'm one of the naysayers, and I stand 10 toes down on it. If he
I
proved me
think
wrong, I don't have a problem coming on here saying that, bruh, you did your thing. I was wrong about you when you first started out. Maybe you need a little something. Maybe he might have the type of career that the legendary Charlie Joyner had. You know, Charlie Joyner struggled when he first got to the NFL. A lot of people don't know. Yeah, he's an NFL Hall of Famer now, but Charlie Joyner struggled when he started in Cincinnati under Bill Walsh when he first started out and with the Houston Oilers before he got to San Diego and became one of the best possession and route receivers of all time.
But I think this new scheme they running now is going to fit Pitts to where they can show his talents
And here's the
what he
thing.
did his rookie year.
And Wallace, and if he don't, and here's the other thing, he got to hold on to the ball too.
I mean, he don't.
Got to
I
hold
don't
on
think
to
he.
the
I don't
ball
think he.
because you
I don't
got a
think he had
quarterback
lot
that's
of
gonna
fumbles.
get it to you.
Yeah, but
Because when he
ain't
had
dropped
Matt
too
Ryan,
many passes.
he had struggles with the dropsies.
Like I said, he got a quarterback that can put it on him. Now that's gonna be able to accelerate his greatness because when you got a quarterback just more thinking about running than to be more of an accurate passer. That's what you have to deal with. That's why he was such in praise and high and had held Kirk Cousins in high regard. That's why we were doing all the tampering, because we need a quarterback that can get that guy. The product placement has to be perfect
But
sometimes for certain players.
here's the problem. But here's the problem I got with media personality mixing in with sports. I get it's entertainment, but this is what the problem I have with it, and I'm gonna speak on it. And nobody don't have to agree with me on this, and I'm fine with it. The problem is you got first round picks. Because they're first round picks, everybody's gonna cater to them because of where they were drafted, and they're gonna kiss their ass. It's just what it is. That's part of the politics of the game. That's what you do. Now, you got a guy like a DeMarco Hellams that was a 7th round draft pick that came in here like a typhoon and literally lit up this defense. Outside of Jesse Bates, that is the best defensive player that we got in the secondary.
Yeah, I think he's gonna start this year.
I'm just saying. And if you look at it, our best players that we have taken have been all from the 4th round on down.
Yeah.
What you saying? The last few drafts, or
the last few drafts.
Oh,
let's keep it a buck from the Dan Quinn era that started after Mike Smith. Mike Smith was able to hit on first round picks. Mike Smith understood how to draft guys in the first round. That was something that made him successful. Unfortunately, we couldn't get over the hump with him, but he knew how to get talent. As for Dan Quinn, he didn't know how to pick in the first round, and neither did Mike Smith. Now, Raheem Morris has to change that narrative. He has to change that narrative, because if you look at all of our first round picks that we've had so far, Vic Beasley, Pat McKinley, Keanu O'Neal, freaking, Pitts is teetering right now. He's teetering.
I like Drake. Yeah, I don't know what you.
Well, Drake. I don't have a problem with Drake. Drake, he hit on. I give him this. They hit with Drake.
I like.
But think about it. That's one out of how many? That's one out of like 6, right?
I'm not saying that we do great in the first round, but you were saying we really did in the early rounds. I mean, it's tough. It's like playing craps anyway. Sometimes you got to have the right person for your organization. We may pick a person that's not geared to come to Atlanta. It may be great in Pittsburgh. It may be great in Cleveland. It may be great in LA. But when they come to the city of Atlanta, they don't do well. They don't mesh well with the people here. They don't mesh well with these strip clubs. They don't mesh well with the nightlife. They don't mesh well, period. So sometimes
you're saying now when you say they don't mesh well, what you mean? Like, are you saying like personally in the way that they?
I'm just saying. I mean, every job that you work at, do you mesh well? Do you stay there for 5, 6, 10 years? Sometimes you work somewhere for 6 months, a year, and quit. I mean, it just don't mesh well with you. I mean, the job, it may be front office, or in my case, it could be your supervisor. It could be a lot of things why you don't mesh well with the job. It's still a job. We may look at it as, we watching football, but it's still a job to them. That's
what I'm trying to get. They're getting a paycheck at the end of the day.
That's what I'm saying. Even though they're playing a sport that we love, it's still a job. They have to go out, practice hard, lift, do this 365 days a year, but you have to like where you at. Maybe they don't like the climate. Maybe they're from somewhere that's cold, and they got sent to Miami.
But here's the thing. I'm gonna battle back with you on that. I can't feel sorry for him when you had guys like Claude Humphrey, Haskell Stanback, and those guys, Larry Little, and a lot of those older cats, even some in the 80s too, when they had to work regular jobs, stay in shape, and do all of this as well as play football. So when you sit back and I'm just saying, when you say 365 days out of the year, it's nothing hard, because once they work out, man, most of them jokers chilling.
Man, look,
and that's because of the money that's been in the game now. That's the money in the game.
They were working jobs. They were working like shoe salesmen and all kind of odd jobs, right?
I give you one Hall of Fame linebacker.
It's still easy to sell.
No, I'm just saying. I'm gonna give you one Hall of Fame linebacker. Bobby Bell played for the Chiefs, won a Super Bowl, did all this stuff, made the Hall of Fame. Bobby Bell was working at after practice. He was literally on the front line, had to jump in the shower, hit traffic and everything, and was on the assembly line for General Motors majority of his career until he retired and opened his own barbecue joint. So he was literally working, like pretty much working a blue collar job while he was playing football.
I mean,
so that's why I'm saying it's not as arduous for these kids now, man.
I'm not saying they didn't make the kind of money they do now to be doing it. You think them guys really wanted to work a regular job and play the NFL? No, it's just they didn't make enough money to
Yeah,
provide the lifestyle they wanted to have. So
and the sad part about it was,
we
and
choose the apples, apples, and oranges. These guys are prima donnas today in today's game. They got athletes. I mean, they got talent. They got loads of talent, but they're prima donnas, man. They've been, silver
why,
spoon or
why
golden
don't you
spoon,
just
a lot
why
of
don't you
things.
just say it? I don't know. I've never known you to be politically correct. Hold up. Why don't you just go ahead and say it?
I
They
ain't saying nothing.
soft. Hold on.
No,
Go ahead and say
nah.
they soft. Go ahead and say it.
Okay, but okay, you can say all
I'm
that,
just
but
joking,
I
man.
guarantee
We look. They play a physical game. Ain't
you
nothing
got up in
soft
their
about the
face
physical game,
and
man.
said they was soft. They put the thigh outs on your ass. So quit saying people soft now. You know what I'm saying? Them boys still 6'8", 325, whatever how many pounds they is, and they still put their ass both all three of us on this panel. So it is what
Hey
it is.
man, you break a tree down. You break a tree down at the roots. Take them legs out. They need them legs, boy. I'm just
It's
joking.
not.
I know you got that jiu-jitsu in your background, so that's why
I
I'm
mean,
chuckling when I say that.
yeah,
But I,
I know a lot. I know a lot of techniques, but like I said, they get angry. That's why they play the NFL. Everybody don't get a chance to play the NFL, man. You got to get a little bit crazy to play in the NFL. You got to
Shoot,
be.
hey, how John say, a 2x4, a bat, or even well, you look. We ain't taking no lives, but you trying to at least maim them for a little bit so you get away. Cause look, you ain't outrunning them jokers because they in shape.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, when they arrest one of them, they bring like 3 or 4 squad cars. Man, they're like, oh, I got a live one. I got a live NFL guy. I mean, they had about 3 or 4 cars pull up because they know they're gonna need a taser, his homeboy taser. They need a billy club to get this joker down on the ground to get him locked up, especially if you don't want to go
Well, they finna,
willingly.
hey, how they say they finna put foots in your behind. Or as my granddaddy would say, hey, they we gonna put their back, hey, they getting ready, I'm getting ready to put my foot in your back pockets,
Yeah,
as
man.
my granddaddy would say.
I'm just saying,
But
but if they're not going willingly, they're gonna call a squad for you because one police officer can't handle an offensive lineman or D lineman,
well,
six
it depends.
six,
Hold on, it depends
320.
because you got some of them you got some of them darn cops or whatever. They don't miss them workouts either because they got to deal with convicts too. So
I'm just.
again, and some of them dudes swole,
I've seen some swole cops. I've seen some swole
and
cops.
they
It's
gotta
not.
run. And think about it, they gotta stay in shape doing a PT every year. Now the ones that's wide and all outside, they can't fit in the car. Now that's a shame.
But what I'm trying to get at is, I've seen fit and buff cops, but I've seen
Yeah.
more jelly eating donut ass cops than damn fit cops. So that's what I'm saying.
Hey,
I'm going with the
that's
race.
what I don't understand, bro. And it's just like us in the military, dog. Like, how the hell you in the military and you got your belly overlapping your doggone uniform belt? Like how?
I don't
Like
know, man.
I get if you not chiseled or whatever, but you solid. But how you got that Dunlop? Your belly done locked over your belt. How? I don't get it, man. But I ain't for the trash nobody today. I've done enough trashing already. But man, let's go ahead and get to it. So last topic for the day, because the pop-up show. We got, like I said, we got Larry Livers on Thursday. Since we're in the spirit of the Olympics, we got an Olympian coming on, former Olympic hurdler. So, but before we get to him, and that's gonna be Thursday, what Falcons do you believe should be in the NFL Hall of Fame? I'm gonna start with Wallace first.
I think Jesse Tucker should be in there. Hopefully Matt Ryan get in there, but he probably won't get in there on the first try, maybe the second go round. He should get in there. Nobis should be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, he hit the tail on the donkey. I mean, them the guys that I would have said. Some of these guys had great careers, but you talk about Hall of Fame. Now, Ring of Honor is one thing, but Hall of Fame, you got to have the numbers. You got to have
Yeah.
everything, man. So it's like, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to step on his toes, man. Like I say, he hit the nail on the donkey, on tail on the donkey right there. I mean, Matt Ryan
Yeah.
definitely, but we'll get him in. Like I said, second, third trip. Uh, I mean, I don't know. You got to have the numbers, man. I mean, like I said, he hit Nobis, the Hammer, and Matt Ryan. I mean, if it's somebody else I'm not thinking of that's coming to my mind, then
I
the
got
proof of that.
one for you. Mike Ken.
I don't like
Yeah.
Mike Ken like as much as you do, though. I mean, it's just my opinion. I think he was
No, I
good.
know,
I don't
but
think
when
I
you
don't
talk
think he's
about
Hall of
at
Fame.
that
I don't
tap
think Hall
that
of
same spot that Jake Matthews is playing, that man did the same thing for 14 years. He barely missed, and he was definitely one of the best in the game. Ronnie, I give you this. Charles Haley said one of the cleanest offensive linemen that he played against was Mike Ken. Wasn't a cheap shot artist, and definitely played the game the right way. And Haley don't pass out compliments like that. And you got to remember, Charles Haley used to see that dude 2 times a year when we used to be in the old NFC West back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
another guy that I would say, I forgot this guy. He's not even in the ring. He should be in the Ring of Honor. And I spoke about this brother. Roland Lawrence, the Falcons interception leader. Period. Career wise, got more picks than Prime. Got more picks than anybody that's come through this Falcons organization and was consistent for the time that he was here. He should have been in the Ring of Honor. But as for Hall of Famers, even though he didn't play for us for long, I think he is a Hall of Famer. That's Cornelius Bennett, Biscuit. That is a guy who was a disruptor when he played for Indianapolis and for Buffalo, and then he came to Atlanta and he helped lead us to a Super Bowl. He gave us an extra pass rush and he helped the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy that I'm going to mention that I believe, because you already mentioned Jesse Tuggle. Another guy that I would mention that should be a Hall of Famer is Jeff Van Note. Almost 20 years as a center, one of the best that we've had in this organization with consistency, durability, and toughness. And he played in 3 different eras, man: 60s, 70s, and 80s.
I can see Jeff Van Noy. I give you that one. I like, yeah.
And a lot of the old Falcons get lost in the sauce, because a lot of people remember how bad the team was during that time, and they don't remember the bright spots that we had during those days. And you look at that, it's like, ugh, it's not much that you can go off on, but you had some great players to come through here and really do some great things with their careers. Like Roddy White's gonna eventually be a Hall of Famer. We already know. With the numbers that he put up in his career, Roddy White's gonna be a Hall of Famer. Another guy who I believe that should actually be in, and he was solid in his career, I think Warwick Dunn, impact wise. Warwick Dunn should
What
be.
done?
But he's gonna be, I would say I would have him as on the senior committee when he gets old. Because now, like, nah, you were an impact player in Tampa and Atlanta, but later down the line, I think you would be a part of the senior committee that needs to be voted in. That's what I would do That's what I would do. If I was voting him in or whatnot. But those are some of the names that I have, and it's not a huge list. Another guy who I think had an NFL Hall of Fame career, lastly on my list, is Scott Case.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got. I love his Scott Case, baby. Yeah,
I I knew you was gonna smile when I said that one, because
yeah.
think
Scott.
about it. He was a difference maker in '95 for Dallas. Everybody talk about how Prime went there and he helped Dallas win that championship in '95. It's like, yeah, he helped, but guess what? They didn't have a free safety on that back end. Darren Woodson wasn't the Darren Woodson that we knew. That was Scott Case that helped mold that dude.
Yeah, man. Scott
Case was a
Case.
bad boy.
He made me want to play safety, man. I mean, just watching him as I was growing up as a kid, just the way he played it, really wanted. That's why I fell in love with the defensive side of football. Mm.
What's sad is he's not even in the Ring of Honor.
Now he need
Yeah,
to be. He need to be in the play card.
exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
speaking up for you, Scott. Let's get it, baby.
And that's
2-5
sad.
this
Like,
here.
you got one of your greatest safeties outside of Ken Reeves. Ken Reeves should be in there. Roland Lawrence should be in there. And you got guys that literally were great players on our defense. I'm gonna give you another guy that should be. He's not an NFL Hall of Famer. He was a good player, but he ain't even in the Falcons Ring of Honor. Bobby Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby
Okay.
ain't even in there. Bobby was
We
the
got.
one who told Prime, he pulled him aside. He said, "Hey, you ain't gonna get no money diving in there, tearing up your shoulders." He told Dion, he said, "I know you ain't a hitter. He told him that. He said, I know you're not a hitter. Your money is going, he said, young fella, your money gonna come with your legs. Because he said, because if you remember the top 100 that they did during the 100 years of the NFL, like Deion, Ronnie Lott, and all those guys sat around, and Deion said Bobby Butler was the reason. He said, I need to focus on being a shutdown corner and being a punt returner and a kick returner. And Ronnie Lott came out and said Bobby Butler was a good player. Now, when you get Ronnie Lott to say that, you know that's big.
No.
Because Ronnie didn't hand out compliments like that either.
Mm-hmm.
So, gentlemen, I definitely appreciate y'all jumping on, man. I had opened it up for everybody or whatnot. I know it's vacation time right now. It's summertime. Everybody out here drinking Mai Tais, getting some of that good old jerk chicken as you did a couple of days ago, my boy, and them fresh oxtails.
Hey, man, hey, look, you know what I'm saying? You got to treat yourself, man, when you work so hard. So, I mean, anybody out there, you thinking about it, book that trip. Yeah, go ahead, man.
If you're gonna hit an island, hit Jamaica, you gotta hit Haiti, Port-au-Prince. If you're gonna do the islands or whatnot, and shoot, man, it's so many things you can do out here for little to nothing, man, and get the stress off your system or whatnot, and get ready for this stress that they're gonna put us through during football season, man. Oh, I forgot, we got one more thing we gotta do. See, I'm getting ready to close the show, and I almost forgot. What is your favorite Falcons moments?
Well, it was us going to the Super Bowl, but not the ending of it. But that was my favorite Falcon moment. I was excited all the way up until halftime.
Which one? Because we went to both and got our got our butts
whipped. I don't want to go into detail. You know what I'm talking about. In '98, I didn't really feel like we had a legitimate shot, but this, you know what I'm saying, the previous one we had. In 2016, I really thought we had a shot, but hey, we know. I don't want to go into detail. We know what happened, but that was my proudest moment until after the end of halftime, and it might be one of my saddest moments.
I was in A school rooming with a guy that was from. I had to be in the room with not one, but two boys that was from the New England area. One was from Plymouth, Massachusetts. The other one was from Boston.
They were crying at halftime.
Oh man, I didn't find them. Look, and what was funny was I said what's up to them. They saw me with my Falcon stuff leaving. Them fools ain't tell me they was Pats fans. So I come back from the Mexican restaurant. I can say I had a couple of margaritas. I was feeling good. I had me a nice juicy steak. I'm talking about everything tasted good. All my food, like everything was perfect. And I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't supposed to be doing it. I'm telling on myself now. I was a little buzzed going back to the base. Boy, I was listening to it on the radio, and when stuff started happening and I got back to the base, my buzz was gone. I was sick to my stomach. I was about to throw up. I'm like, God dang, these damn Falcons, they always do this. And I'm sitting back like my granddad called me. He said, boy, he said, I can't do this. He said, I'm too old for this. He said, I've been a fan since 1966. My blood pressure can't handle it. And he honestly did not watch overtime. He didn't watch it. When it went in overtime, my granddad said, he said, I'm turning on Andy Griffin, which he did. And I said, dang, you supposed to ride with? He said, boy, my blood pressure can't handle it. He said, I'm 80 some years old. He said, I can't do this. He said, you had a heart attack for both of us. That's what he told me. Oh man, and it hurt like hell because I give it to my shipmates. They was cool about it. They wasn't jerks about it because they knew I was hot. So they didn't mess with me about it like that. They kept quiet. Now, some of them Pats fans that was on the base, woo. That was it took let's put it this way. I had to think about the pen is mightier than the fist. Let's just say that. Because I didn't want to lose none of my money for my paycheck. All my active duty and my vets know about that. You get in some stuff and you can lose a paycheck. Trust me, it hurt. It hurt a lot worse. Where they tell you ain't got you got a month's worth. Your pay is gonna be restricted for 2 months. That hurts. Trust me.
Oh yeah, I've been through it.
Oh yeah.
I went through it one time when I got captain's master.
Yeah, man.
And I lost one, but I was blessed though. I only lost one paycheck. I ain't lose I didn't lose like one dude did. That was the first time I seen somebody lose 4 paychecks, and I was like,
Hey
2
man,
months of suspended pay.
you want a wild boy. Then you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no. I had a nice.
Yeah.
I actually had an officer that was nice to me.
I had
He
to
what?
learn how to calm. I had to learn how to calm down. I used to get in trouble a lot when I
Hey,
first got
no, bro. I had a nice officer that told me. He said, "I like you, Walker." He said, "But I'm just gonna take one of your paychecks." He said, "Normally I'd take 4." I
Wow.
said, "Man, boy, my water about broke when he said that." I said, "Man, I got rent, I got bills, man. Please, I'd have been evicted out of my darn apartment if he did that mess." But anywho, man, I appreciate y'all boys for sliding through with us tonight, man. We got Larry Live is coming through, former Olympian, and then next week we got a big time former Falcons first round pick coming to join us next week. I'm not gonna say who, keep that a little quiet or whatnot till it's close to the time of the show. So we definitely appreciate y'all coming through. K Dub, definitely thank you for sliding through, taking time out tonight because I know you was busy handling some things. And Wallace, it's always a pleasure, my guy. Thank you for coming through.
You're welcome. Appreciate for
So
y'all letting me come on.
so
always,
man.
man. When we had it, listen, when we got the open platform, man, the door is always open. You can come through.
Okay.
just make sure when we talk about this secondary or whatever, me and you still got words this week.
All right.
Appreciate it, Wallace. So K Dub, thank you for coming through, my boy. Appreciate you
Already,
again.
man. Already.
And everybody that came through tonight, we thank you for coming through for this pop-up show. We just did a little something because we missed out last week. So hey, you either get right or you get left. We'll see you Thursday. Mr. Larry Livers, Olympic hurdler coming through. Y'all check it out, baby. We out of here. Peace.